After just binging through the Final Destination franchise, I can confidently say this one is my favorite by far. Heading into Final Destination Bloodlines, I wanted to watch all the other Final Destination movies, so this was a first-time watch for me going through this entire franchise, and unfortunately, it's not a franchise I'm crazy about. None of the movies clicked with me. I didn't really care about them. I wasn't thinking about them after I watched them. Some of them are god-awful, like the fourth one, which I hope to never have to watch again, and then the other ones are pretty much just fine. And so I was kind of worried going into Final Destination's Bloodlines. I really did not want a movie that was going to leave me frustrated once again. I needed a palate cleanser after watching just that movie. I can't even think about it.
That is one big pile of shit.
But I went in with an open mind, wanting to have a good time. And I had a good time with Final Destination's Bloodline. This is a movie that I enjoyed, and it felt like a fun entry, something that I was wanting from a Final Destination movie. The first thing you have to start off with is that it feels like a significant improvement. I felt that very early on in the movie. A significant improvement over everything else that has come before it. Like the writing, the acting. Starting with the writing, it actually makes you care about the characters. It's not like spectacular. It's not going to win any big awards. They just set basic groundwork for you to actually care. And I don't know why the other movies didn't think to do that, but whatever. Specifically, moments between family members and estranged family members, that's what I found to be the most compelling, even though it wasn't anything crazy again. And particularly the dialogue this time around, it's been really rough in some of the past movies. Honestly, most of them are pretty cringe-inducing. But in Bloodlines, you know what? The dialogue is good. It's actually very passable, and it doesn't feel extremely off or not something that a regular human would say. And then the other thing, going into the acting, the performances actually feel genuine and they sell you on the characters and they don't feel robotic or anything like someone that has just started acting and they don't really know what to do. It just feels natural and I can't complain there. I thought that it all just sold me there. The thing that I've been really looking for in a Final Destination movie is an entertaining watch, right? The past couple movies, I have not gotten that. Even the first movie, I think that it's just goofy and it was too goofy for me. So I'm going to keep in mind, maybe seeing this movie in a theater, like I'll always say, seeing a movie in a theater is much different than watching it at home for the first time in a theater. I think it's a much more immersive experience, so maybe that has something to do with how I felt this one was more entertaining, the most entertaining of the Final Destination movies. It's still over the top and dumb. It doesn't lose what has been set up before. It doesn't feel like this complete detachment sort of movie from anything else that has come before it. But it was dumb and it worked for me. It wasn't too dumb. It wasn't too over the top. It felt just like the right amounts of silly. And I was engaged throughout the movie. I think that one of the issues that I have with it is that it is a little too long. It is the longest movie thus far in the franchise at 1 hour and 50 minutes. And I felt myself checking the time here and there. But it could have just been tightened a little bit, but nothing overly too much to complain about. And let's talk about the kills, because those are one of the most acclaimed things about the Final Destination movies, how unique they feel and how they leave you scared to do everyday activities. Whether that's driving behind a truck on the highway that has a bunch of logs in the back, or that's going on a plane, or that's going to a fucking Daytona race. That was so stupid. And here the big incident at the start is a high-rise building. Then all the kills that follow it, there is one in particular that's probably my favorite of the movie, where they're in a hospital and they are trying to prevent death. That's later on in the movie. Without getting into spoilers, it involves a medical machine. And it was one of those kills that really just had me wincing. I was like, oh wow, they really went there. And it was strong. It was a visceral reaction that I just found myself having. And like I said earlier, because I gave a shit about the characters, I was like, oh shit, like that's unfortunate that they died. And the movie's also funny. It's not hilarious. There were a couple jokes that weren't really hitting for me, but then there were a couple that did hit. And speaking of the high-rise building and how that sets everything in motion, what makes this movie stand out amongst the other Final Destination movies is that it actually sets up interesting lore, whereas the other movies have just been rinse and repeat. Accident happens, they try to prevent death now, all that good stuff. This one still has that, don't get me wrong, but it adds lore to make it feel refreshing, and it feels unique and it stands out. It also sets up little things here and there that will pay off later on in the movie, and you will have yourself calling back to a moment. It still has the DNA of the Final Destination movies, but it just feels like something that is fresh, and it's taking on a new spin with the franchise, which is what this movie needed and what this franchise needs. Something different. That's what every franchise needs with a new reboot or a requel, right? It needs something new to inject excitement within audience goers to want to see potentially another one. And you also have the return of Tony Todd in this movie, which isn't a spoiler. He has been in the marketing. And it's surprisingly a very heartfelt moment. And I believe he was sick at the time of filming, and it just makes it all the more special. It's a sweet send-off to him. It is a moment in the movie where it kind of feels like, whoa, like this is what we're doing now. But it wasn't too abrupt or anything. It didn't feel completely out of left field. I thought that it was a nice little send-off moment. So I think that Final Destination's Bloodlines is going to be a movie that fans of the franchise are going to enjoy, and people that don't really care for the movies like myself will maybe even find themselves enjoying it the most out of all the movies like me. I think it works on both ends of the spectrums. Even if you're feeling just so exhausted by the movies, and trust me, I was feeling exhausted with these movies, this one just felt refreshing. Maybe it's a little too long and it's nothing spectacular. It's not going to blow you away with its creativity, but it does something new with it. I actually gave a shit about the characters. The kills had me wincing and having to look away, and it was a fun watch. I call it a surprise. It was really entertaining. I'm gonna give Final Destination's Bloodlines a B-, and I would recommend seeing this one in theaters. Especially if you're a fan of the franchise, this is a must-see with an audience. And seeing it with an audience, for me, I thought that some audience members were just going completely over the top with their reactions, which is a whole conversation for another day. Just don't be that person completely going over the top with your reactions. It's unnecessary. If you're hesitant though, I'm sure it still works seeing it at home. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on Final Destination's Bloodlines in the comments. If you've seen the movie, what did you think of it? I want to thank you so much for watching this review, and if you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, look forward to more content coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.